Hello guys and welcome to Coding with Tom. So today we're going to play with colors and JavaScript once again, but this time we'll randomly generate a color, display it on the screen, and change the styling for elements accordingly. We'll also use a set interval function and we'll use an RGB color since we can work with 3 different numbers. So let's jump right into it. I already have here a body with a div with an ID of app, and for our it's simply that, and for our CSS, I simply reset the margins of our body, and I set some styling for our app so it's 100% of our width and 100% of our height, and I also set it with the display of flex and with another properties, just to make sure that if we append any element to our div, it's just going to show right at the middle. So let's start with JavaScript. We'll start by setting some variables that we know that we're going to need. I'm going to set let color title, and it's going to be document.create element h2. I'm going to set let app element. It's going to be document.get element by id, and it's going to be app. So we're just creating an H2 and we're getting our idea here. And I also know that I'm going to need a variable for red, green, and blue. So let red, let green, and let blue. So now let's work on the function that generates a random number, and it's fairly easy. We know that the RGB is composed by 3 numbers between 0 and 255. So we're going to create a function that gives us a number between 0 and 255. So let's call it random number, and we'll set like let num, it's going to be equal to math.random, that gives us a number between 0 and 1, so 0.5, 0.2, whatever, and we're going to state it as times 256. So we're going to get a number between 0 and 1 times 256, but this doesn't work since the number that we want is between 0 and 255. So we need to wrap this on math.floor, that is going to basically just return integer number considering whatever we get from here. So if we get, let's say, 0.4 times 256, it's going to give us the largest integer that is less than the number that is presented. So if it is, let's say, 125.2, it's going to retrieve us 125, and simply that. And now we can just return none. And basically we already have most of our job completed, since we're just getting a random number here, and now we just need to call for this function 3 times, append it to an RGB string, and we're basically done. So let's call this a function randomize color, and inside of here we're just going to say that red is going to be equal to random number. And basically what we're saying here is that whenever we call the red variable, we want to call the function, and we actually want to do this 2 more times, since we want to do this for our green and for our blue. And now we actually just want to create a string that represents the RGB with these 3 things. So we can just call it let random color. It's going to be equal to RGB plus red plus comma plus green plus comma and a space plus blue, and finally the closing parentheses. And now we basically have a variable here that just has a string with the 3 random numbers that we get from our variables that they get from our function, and we have a string with that. So now we can say that color.title is going to be .inner HTML. It's going to be equal to random color. because now we're just appending this string to the h2 that we created. And we also want for our app element.style.background color to be equal to, well, random color, so we actually can display the color that we're getting not only as a string on our h2 but also as the background color for our div. And finally we want to app element.append child dot color title here. And basically we already have our function fully working, but now we want to call for this function. I mean, I could just come here and just do this one time, and we will get an RGB and with the color, background color accordingly to this RGB. But I want to call for this function endlessly, an infinite number of times, but I want to set it with an interval of 1 second, let's say. And to do so, we can just come here and wrap our function between parentheses and just call it inside another function that is going to be set interval. And set interval basically takes a function, and it's what we have here, and as a second parameter it takes the interval of time in which we want to call this function, and it gives us in milliseconds. So I'm just going to type 1000, and this is basically a second. And now if we press run and we wait, you see that we just get our function working. And yeah, there we go. If you have any doubts about anything that I just said or showed you, please feel free to comment down below. And if you like to see more videos, just subscribe, like the video, and just comment any ideas that you might have or any doubts that you want to see clarified here, or any cool idea, cool projects that you would like to see. And yeah, just give it a try. And if you want to just change this code to show it as an HSL, or to add an opacity factor to it, or just to try an hexadecimal color. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time.